Hi, my name is Amy. Welcome back to my channel. Today, I would like to take a look back at some of the projects I completed in 2020, and then I would like to talk about my plans for 2021. I actually accomplished a lot more in 2020 than I thought, especially when I consider the new skills and knowledge I acquired. I hadn't planned on talking about any of the street clothing that I made this year because I didn't feel like anything was really worth talking about, because I could only really remember making things like, t-shirts and shorts and those kind of things. However, when I went back through my records, I remembered that last winter I made 2 wool coats. The first was a plaid cold snap coat from George and Ginger Patterns, and the second one was a red wool Provence pea coat from Winter Wear Designs. I don't have any pictures of the cold snap coat because every time I've worn it, it's been dark, and I always keep forgetting to go take pictures of it. You know, it's that out of sight, out of mind thing. I need to write myself a note and do that. I will include a picture of the Provence pea coat up here though. Both coats fit really well, and if I make them again, there are just a few minor tweaks I'll make to the patterns. Otherwise, they're great, and I really enjoy wearing them both. Costuming-wise, I completed 4 large projects that I'm really proud of. The first project is a new set of 18th century stays. I used the 1730s Georgian stays pattern from Red Threaded, and with 4 mock-ups and lots of input from Luca Castigliolo through my Foundations Revealed membership, I was able to complete the stays. I started working on the stays in March, and I finally finished them in August. They are by far the most time-consuming project I have ever completed. They are also one of the best fitting pieces of clothing I have ever made for myself, and I absolutely love wearing them. They're more comfortable than my day-to-day bras and underwear. I absolutely love them. Next, I created videos for CocoVid. It was a fantastic experience, and I thoroughly enjoyed watching all of the content that was included in that weekend. I created 3 videos for CocoVid. 2 of the videos were machine embroidery projects. One ended up being an 18th century pocket, and the other was a 19th century reticule. The third video I made was an 18th century bum roll. The 2 final projects I completed this year were an 18th century linen ensemble and the 1890s Elsa cosplay. The 18th century has my heart, so that project was a lot of fun. And while I've made 18th century petticoats before, I had never made an 18th century jacket. So learning that process and fitting was really enjoyable to me as well. I'm also looking forward to adapting the 18th century jacket pattern to make a couple that I can wear for everyday use in a sort of history-bounding fashion. Elsa is the first real cosplay costume I've made, and it was also a new era for me. So I got to experience something new with the cosplay, but I also got to learn a lot about the 1890s. As part of the Elsa cosplay, I made an 1880s corset that fits really, really well, and having that base layer has opened up another avenue of historical costuming for me as I can get into more Victorian costuming with that corset. With that, I'd like to sum up my year with these 4 points. One thing I've learned is how to use a thimble, thanks to Abby Cox and her video during CocoVid. Seriously, I did not know what I was missing out on by not using a thimble. I have been able to increase my speed, accuracy, and skill level of hand sewing by learning to use a thimble and utilize it as a proper sewing tool. One thing I'm proud of is my 1730 stays. I know I've mentioned it already, but I am absolutely the most proud of that one piece of clothing that I produced this year. One piece that was easier than I expected was the Victorian ripple jacket. I was thoroughly astounded at how much easier to assemble it was than I was expecting. And the experience of making that jacket was a lot less daunting than I had originally expected, which is making me more willing to want to try more Victorian styles. Finally, one thing that I wanted to do that I didn't get done was my historical Halloween Weldon's Fancy Dress costume. I was making the golf bag, and even though I've gotten it mostly constructed and there's only fine details left to do, I wasn't able to finish it in time for the Halloween season. So I've packed it up and set it aside and put it on my calendar to work on next summer so that it is done in time for next Halloween. Now let's talk about 2021. I have a few sewing projects already planned for 2021. I started working on a plaid robe à la Francais project in December. Since I haven't finished that project, I'm rolling it over to my 2021 list of projects to make. I have already completed the engagants and the petticoat. I have just started working on the gown, and it is the first time I have used draping to make a gown, and I am following the instructions in the American Duchess Guide for 18th Century Dressmaking. It's been a big learning curve for me, but I'm thoroughly enjoying it, and I'm loving learning the new skills, especially the draping, because I feel like the fit I'm getting with this draping process is a lot better than anything I've gotten by following a pattern. In addition to finishing the Francais, I plan on making a Brunswick that includes the petticoat, a waistcoat with a hood, and a jacket with undersleeves. Beyond those two projects and finishing the golf bag costume, I don't have any actual sewing plans for 2021 because I have a different huge project that I'm going to be working on, and it's going to take up a lot of time between now and February or March. And those other two costumes are large enough that they very well could take up the rest of the year. I'm sure there are some smaller sewing projects here and there will always be street clothes that I work on. But as far as large projects, that's all I'm going to commit myself to as of right now. When we remodeled our house 6 years ago, we turned our detached shop into a home theater and family room. We did that so that the kids had a place to bring their friends and hang out and have fun without necessarily disturbing us and our friends if we were having people over to play cards or games or something else. It is also where we keep our computers and our 3D printer. Right now, unless I'm editing a video, Todd is really the only one who uses that space, and he uses just a tiny little corner of it where his desk and computer are. So the room is not being utilized to its best ability. So Todd had the idea that since I'm crammed into this tiny little room, it is 110 square feet, and he uses a tiny little space in the theater, that the two of us should swap rooms. So that is my big project for 2021. We are going to be reflooring, painting, and adding some lights. And I'm going to be moving from this sewing room out to the Nerd Castle, which might need to have a new name because it's not the Nerd Castle anymore. It'll be the Sewing Castle. And I will be taking you along that process. I'm going to be vlogging the process and talking about the changes we're making and how I'm setting it up to utilize it most efficiently for the projects that I make. Because of that, I'm not sure what my upload schedule is going to look like for the next couple of months. I am going to be vlogging the project, like I said, but I'm not sure how often I will be able to get a video edited and uploaded. Hopefully uploading at least every other week, but more than likely not every week like I'm doing right now. One last thing, I am coming up on my 1-year YouTube anniversary, so I might hop on and do a live stream that day or around that time just to have some fun and answer questions and hang out with everybody. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. With that, I hope you all had a wonderful holiday season and that you've had a great new year so far. I am really hoping that 2021 is not nearly as much of a dumpster fire as 2020 was. Although Todd and I both feel very lucky that our jobs and our lives really have not been as affected by COVID-19 as a lot of people we know and a lot of people around the globe. So for that, we're really thankful and very lucky. I want to thank all of you for your support and for following along with me and my YouTube and sewing journey. I appreciate every single one of you. Thanks for watching.